The stakes are bigger, the rivalries are bigger, and everything bigger boils down right here. Texas Motor Speedway, the host of round number 8 of the LWRC NASCAR Cup Series 2020 season, right here on the K Bueno Racing Network. My name is Kenneth Bueno, joined by Charlie Baier in the booth for tonight's coverage. We're ready to bring everything from the Lone Star State, where everything will be intense for sure. A complete 180 this time around when you refer this race to what we saw last week at Martinsville, Charlie. And we saw a first-time winner in Colby Wells. We've seen that multiple amount of times throughout this season. And I want to ask, what does it look like going into tonight, knowing that this is another different type of race they have to tackle, considering what we saw last week?
Yeah, like you said, it's a complete 180, and it makes so much difference going from a short track like Martinsville to a big track and a track with lots of history such as Texas. And these guys are going to depend on that draft to catch up on each other and not have to outbreak each other, such as places like Martinsville, like we went to last week. So yeah, it's a completely different approach, but I would expect the racing to stay the same, and these guys are going to be still aggressive as ever.
And there is a comparison to what we've seen earlier in the season, with multiple 1.5 mile tracks already being visited through this season. You mentioned Homestead, Miami Speedway, Vegas, the second race in this season, and of course a couple of races ago, Atlanta, which seems to be the best comparison to this track in terms of size and in terms of overall shape. They still have that tri-oval type of front straightaway with the little kinks right there in the front straightaway, and then of course you have the overall layout, cookie cutter style from Atlanta over here at Texas. But Texas also seems to be one of the more slicker tracks on the schedule. Atlanta, we talked about it, how hot it was over there at that track and how much the car can slip around, especially going around the corners. And here it doesn't seem to be any different this time. And we're using the older version of Texas, so you don't see as smooth of a racetrack as you do with the newer configuration of Texas that was released on the iRacing platform. And the bumps are one of the key points of this race because they're surely going to rock these cars around tonight.
Yeah, definitely. And the bumps are pretty comparable to a track like Auto Club, where those bumps down the back straightaway and the front straightaway are just so, they can upset the car just so much, even with this high downforce package, and how these cars are glued to the ground. But yeah, those bumps can be really upsetting to these cars. So qualifying is now over. Your pole sitter is Kelan Belsha in that 18 car, first time racer here tonight, but we're going to go down track side to give you your starting lineup in just a moment. And here we go, Kenneth.
Well, starting on the pole will be the number 18 of Kelan Belsha, first pole for him and his new team, Peak Performance Motorsports, on the development side of things. He takes the pole for tonight's action here at Texas. Right alongside him, one of the more dominant drivers through the LWRC NASCAR Cup Series. It's a 42 rocking the Kelly Oubre mobile. It's Cole Williams in the 42.
And starting on your second row inside, the 8 car of Dylan Bass, another consistent driver in this league, starting right behind your pole sitter Kelan Belsha. And to his outside, Aiden Kirker, in that 39 car that'll round out row number 2.
And right behind them in row number 3 will be the number 95 of Paul Granada. Sets a 28.943. That sets him into the top 5. And right to his outside, the number 86, I believe making his first start in the LWRC NASCAR Cup Series this season. It's Aaron Tribble, the 86.
Right behind them, Brady Wheelman starting in the 7th position on row number 4. And to his outside, Hunter Ellis driving for Nova Sim Racing in that 01 car, starting 8th place.
Down in row 5 is a 71 of Brianna Lavin starting in 9th. And rounding out this top 10 for tonight's action is the 26 of Eli O'Quinn, starting just inside the top 10.
And right behind them, rounding out your field, Michael Kenner, starting in row number 6, is the only car starting outside the top 10. And that's going to round out your field, your starting lineup here at Texas Motor Speedway. 60 laps here around this 1.5 mile racetrack, and it's going to be an exciting one for sure. This high downforce package has shown a lot of good racing in the past earlier in the season LWRC Cup Series, so I'm excited for this one. I love this racetrack, I love racing on it, and I love to watch some races on it as well. So we're going to go ahead and take a green flag here in just a second.
So field in the hands of Kelan Belsha for the first time this season. Jaden Lawson making up that final row. as well. But the field comes off turn 4. They'll head into the tri-oval first time. Green flag is out in the air here at Texas, the Lone Star State. Kelan Belsha with an early start. He's going to take the lead easily going into turn 1 with Cole Williams in the pack right behind.
He left with a good start already, and I think that's a car around. No, he saves it. That's the 95 of Paul Granada. A good save in turn number 1. He just hit the apron there. But your leader right now with a pretty sizable lead, just half a second over second place. Kelan Belsha will lead them into lap number 2 here. Cole Williams right behind. Dylan Basin sitting in third right now. So lap number 1 goes to Kelan Belsha.
First lap's led for the 18 of Kelan Belsha tonight, and now we're looking at a battle for possibly second. Wasn't able to do it. That was Dylan Basin in the 8 machine. Hasn't won a race this season. He had a really good strategy at the track I mentioned at the top of the show, Atlanta, which is most similar to what this track is like. But Dylan Basin had a really good run there, but strategy really bit him. He wasn't able to take the victory. That win went to Kilo Hankins. Dylan Basin, of course, looking for a better run here today at Texas. Right behind the back bumper of the 42 of Cole Williams. And remember, this high downforce package, you really have to bring that car all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. And really, when you have that grip with the high downforce, you really have to rely on the clean air more than you do anything else. Because if you don't have the clean air, you really can't get around. You can really get close to the driver behind you like we're looking with Dylan Basin, but you can't really quite make the pass. You need some extra effort, an extra oomph, I would say, to try to get around cars around you. But we're still looking at the battle between these two. But Kelan Belsha continues to lead these guys off turn 2.
Yeah, and you mentioned the high downforce package. That's what really makes racing for position behind someone a lot more difficult, because the car in front, or the leader, I should say, they can just run full throttle laps basically, and they're just fine. But the cars behind them, they're going to have to lift and take the corners a lot differently, because they're that draft gives them a bit of a boost down the front straightaway, and then you have to lift more in the corners. It's a tough experience when you're trying to pass someone in this high downforce package. So I know a lot of people are not very big fans of it, but that's just the way it is here with these Cup cars. But despite that, inching closer to the back bumper to the 18, Cole Williams, with Dylan Basin trailing just right behind him. Cole Williams could look for the lead into turn 1 here, but lap number 5 goes to Kelan Belsha.
Getting behind them is one story, getting around them is another, but it's going to be easy for the 42 of Cole Williams. Looks like Kelan Belsha backs out of that one. He's going to use all the way, the groove all the way up to the wall, and he's going to fall back to third, possibly in the clutches of one of the drivers who was most notable for having almost no damage in the Martinsville race last week. That's Aiden Kirker, who really had a good shot at the race victory, but wasn't able to do so. Had some damage late in the running, was involved in some incidents, I believe, by himself. And that race was an entirely different beast altogether. You had so many incidents. You had a very, very long race, the longest we've ever seen in this series and on this K1 Racing Network. But now we're on the shorter side of things once again. 60 laps. I believe that's the same one we ran at Atlanta. So I think we might see the same sort of things. I was going to mention at the top of the show, before we had some technical issues early in the show, I was going to mention how Atlanta had that strategy, with the tire wear. It had the effects of tire wear, and how strategy can really play into your favor. And we saw that with Kilo Hankins, and I was possibly thinking about how that could happen in this scenario with this track. A similar racetrack, maybe a little bit more tougher on these cars, but tire wear still is prevalent. And you still have, of course, the tire strategy and the fuel strategy if this race continues to go green. So that's something to watch for as these drivers continue to work their way around. You see Eli O'Quinn a little bit slow on the outside. He's going to give up a position possibly, but not sure to be the case. But right now, the lead and the battle for the race lead continues to heat up on board, with Dylan Basin trying to get around the Kelly Oubre mobile.
And slaps the wall off the corner. Yeah, that's what we mentioned earlier. You get just so tight behind other cars when you're trying to pass them, and that obviously took a bite into Dylan Basin's run, as he is tight on the racetrack right now. He has right front damage after hitting the wall. Aiden Kirko slides into the second spot, but yeah, that's just another example of the high downforce package taking a bite on the cars trying to pass.
And we'll take a look at your track info, which we're going to do at the top of the show, but those audio issues really didn't help us on that end. At 1.46 mile oval, the Texas Motor Speedway. 4 turns, of course, a track elevation of 655 feet above ground, so we're pretty high up there. A 97-degree track temp, so a hot, slick track out here at Texas. That really rips the tires apart, of course, with the abrasive surface. You just saw that with Dylan Basin there, the 8 car. Of course, we're in Fort Worth in the United States of America. And the turns, I want to mention the turns since they're very, very different from each other. Turns 1 and 2, just about 20 degrees, so you don't have as much banking.
Dylan
You might
on the wall
have to
again
lift
and
a little
around.
more. And Dylan almost around. We're going to see if some drivers almost get collected. They don't. And I don't think Dylan goes around. Almost gets into his Nova Sim Racing teammate, but looks to be no caution. He goes around and then slips around. Now the caution is waived. So caution number 1 on the racetrack, lap number 11. A victim in that one, Dylan Basin, went into the wall once again off the, I believe, turn 2. And then that's where things really didn't go well for the 8 car. We're going to take a replay. Another smack to the outside wall. Almost, it pretty much saved it. It locked up the brakes there. And almost, yeah, actually makes contact with his fellow teammate.
It's he tried to lock the brakes up, and he was doing a good job of not getting that car to spin. But unfortunately, he just got contact with his Nova Sim Racing teammate. That brought out the caution.
And I was going to mention the banking here on the racetrack. Right as soon as that happened, 20 degrees in 1 and 2. You have to lift a little more than in 3 and 4. You have 24, so a little more leeway to put the gas on in 3 and 4. But right now, Cole Williams has led the field down pit road entirely, especially with Dylan Basin, who has to get that damage fixed and, of course, get fresh new Goodyear rubber on his race car. Everyone dips down pit road. We'll see what the battle looks like and how these drivers really fare out. Kelan Belsha into the number 1 pit stall. We're going to see how everyone shakes out. They're going to take all 4 fresh tires. No looks to be strategy early on in this one. I think your safest bet is really to stay on with the drivers ahead of you. Here's the battle off pit road, and easily to Cole Williams, almost barely to Aiden Kirker, but there's a nice, I believe Michael Kenner has gained a couple positions off of that pit stop. Kelan Belsha going off as well. Paul Granada, still a couple drivers left to exit pit road. Some of the Nova Sim Racing drivers in that group. So Cole Williams takes the lead off of pit road. First time we see that this season. There is Jaden Lawson, who started on the final row on the starting grid. Looks like he stayed out, so he will lead the field to green unless he goes down pit road. But yeah, I was mentioning the banking here at this racetrack. It is widely different in 1 and 2 than what you see in 3 and 4, and really that changes your dynamic when it comes to using your throttle. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Maybe you have to be a little bit in turn 1 and 2 than you would in 3 and 4. So that's something to watch, and that's something that we've seen develop over the course of these 13 laps. But still early. Jaden Lawson, your leader. Cole Williams right behind winner off of pit road. So we're on the caution for the first time here tonight.
Today.
Well, today, yes. Well, speaking of the nighttime, well, it's a good opportunity to say if you want to tune in to more K1 Racing Network action right here on this YouTube channel, you can do so. The final regular season race of the iRacing Bungeon Lawn Care Series takes place tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We've already seen racing from Las Vegas on the LWRC side of things, but it's the first time we're going to see that on the Bungeon Lawn Care Series side, and that's going to be even more tension-filled, knowing that the top 10 in points is going to be shifting all around. We're going to see a bunch of drivers really try to make strategies in order to get into those top 10, get into the playoffs for that season. But on this side of things, we still have a long way to go. Still a long season, and I was going to mention at the top of the show also that Texas is another one-and-done track. We saw at Martinsville last week how that track is pretty much the only time we see Martinsville in the schedule. Also, Texas being the same thing pretty much. The Texas only one race on the schedule. It's going to be this race, and then we won't really see this track again. So you really have to give it your all here at Texas, or just play a safety game, if you will, here at Texas to try and just get out and get over it, and you won't see it ever again. So you can't use any strategy. Maybe at the other 1.5 milers, but not so much, at this track specifically. All right, while we're under caution, a good opportunity to let you know that if you want to join the conversation with us up in the booth, you can do so using hashtag AskKBRN. You can use hashtag AskKBRN, followed by your question, of course, within appropriate terms. But we've had some crazy questions over the past couple of races, but if you want to join the conversation, you can do that. We'll be sure to answer that just as soon as it's ended. We have a question down there by Side Drafting Productions. Asks, who are the best drivers in this league at tire saving, in your opinion? Will make huge difference on the long runs. And that's a really good point before we go green here. And as we saw over that 13-lap run, I believe, or just 11 laps or so, who do you think is the best driver really when it comes to this tire conservation, Charlie?
Yeah, and I think, you know, at Las Vegas we saw a really long run, and I think the best driver who saved their tires on that run is probably the 14 of Michael Kenner. He stayed out front and was really good, and you know, all the guys behind him kind of fell off, and he was able to pull away and I think got the win there. But besides that, green flag is back out in the hands of Cole Williams. Jaden Lawson to his outside, but looks like Cole will clear him in a turn one.
Cole easily takes the lead. Looks like Lawson will fall back on the high side, let these guys on the fresher tires do all the work right now. Aiden Kirker, a fellow going low teammate for Cole Williams, he will now look right to the back bumper and now to the inside for the race lead on lap number 16. Can't quite get it done just yet, but the work side by side off turn 4 with the help from a Nova Sim Racing driver, and he's going to take the lead on that lap right there. And now he's going to get freight train from the guys at the bottom, almost 3 wide, and it almost making it work down low. I don't think it's going to work. That's Michael Kenner in the 14, like you mentioned, the best at tire conservation to you, but look at all the swerving down the back straightaway.
And almost contact between the leaders. Paul Granada jumped below his Nova Sim Racing teammate Michael Kenner, but that 14 car jumps out to the race lead after a 3 wide move into turn number 1. Very clean racing out of these guys, and it shows what those new tires will do. Well, lap number 17 goes, that 14 car of Michael Kenner, but his Nova Sim Racing teammate, that 95 car is not done yet.
And the 95 had a wild ride at Martinsville last week, involved in multiple incidents with Henry Tabor. Got involved in some tensions there and some rivalry down there. Not the case this time around, trying to take the race lead, but now with fire from Cole Williams once again, who regains the bottom, and now he's going to use it to his advantage. Got a car using the high side. That's your pole sitter. Kelan Belsha is going to fall with Brady Wheeleman back there in the 51, so no harm, no foul, no contact there, but Nova Sim Racing to the lead the first time off turn 2.
And lots of swerving. This wide back straightaway and that wide turn number 3, that allows these guys to make those 3 wide moves. And, you know, it's kind of at a disadvantage to anyone up top because it's kind of like a short tracker like Martinsville, where if you get shuffled up top, you are going to the back or at least the end of the line of cars that are about to pass you. But for the race lead in the turn number 1, 42 car of Cole Williams and Michael Kenner, probably the 2 most outstanding performances we've seen out all season between some different races between these guys. Those 2 are back out front, a Chevy and a Ford, but to the inside, Cole Williams could take the lead in the turn number 3.
And those drivers are both race winners in this season. Michael Kenner was a winner at Las Vegas, second race of the season. Cole Williams, a winner at Phoenix Raceway. So those 2 drivers are doing fairly well in this season, seem to be the most competitive. Michael Kenner hasn't really made some appearances within the past couple of events, but nonetheless, he's still bringing the fire to this pack. And I want to mention a newer driver down right behind a couple of these drivers in the Nova Sim Racing is almost contact between Paul Granada and Aiden Kirker. I was going to talk about the 86 of Aaron Tribble making his first start in the LWRC NASCAR Cup Series. You see him right there in the 86. So first start for him right now, sporting an AlphaTauri paint scheme on his Chevrolet Camaro. But we had a question down there in the YouTube chat just before it got retracted, asked where do we think Aaron Tribble will finish, and that's a really good question considering it's his first start. You know, it's his first taste of what LWRC action is like. I remember being in a recruitment race with him down in the Red Light Racing League at Homestead Miami Speedway. That was a lot of fun to battle with him. He was one of the better drivers at tire saving, so a good run for him so far. But what are you looking out of him right now, Charlie?
Yeah, I think he's sitting in a comfortable top 10 position right now, so I think he can, if he stays consistent, he can pull a top 10. And whoa, for the race lead, that 14 car washed up and almost made contact with 42, and we got caution.
Caution now for the second time tonight. Going to try and find out who was responsible. But we see some slow cars there. That's Eli O'Quinn, Jaden Lawson among the drivers, really separated from the rest of the field. Might have been the drivers involved. We'll take a replay and see exactly what went down. Looks to be side-by-side battle with Brady Wheeleman. Looks to have gone by him fairly easily, and it looks like the apron might have gone him there and right up the track and then contact. and then goes around into the grass. No, looks to be no damage on that race car.
Yeah, so it's still looking clean here, just a slide through the grass for that number 26 car. So no harm done to that Ford Mustang Nova Sim Racing car. So I believe these guys are going to jump down pit road here in just a second.
Yeah, we'll see if these drivers start to go down pit road, get those fresh Goodyear tires, really set themselves up on the fuel run, especially for the end of the race, so they really don't have to worry about saving. And we haven't really had longer green. We've had these pretty medium stints, intermediate stints. As you see, Michael Kenner stays out on the racetrack with everybody else falling down pit road. So interesting call by Michael Kenner. I was going to talk about the strategy. That might be a move that could be effective later in the going for Michael Kenner if he can stay out and conserve as much as he can. But as for the rest of everybody, they're going to go down pit road, easily get those fresh Goodyears. And we have an incident. That is Aaron Tribble goes around. Heading into his pit stall. Kelan Belsha might have also been involved. He has some contact in the first stall. Has some damage to the front bumper of that race car. Aaron Tribble struggling to get around back to his pit stall. I don't think he'll get back. He'll easily get out. Yeah, damage on the race car there. And it looks like he'll go with...
Yeah, we'll go ahead and get a replay of that really quickly for you guys.
Well, that was bizarre. Kelan Belsha looks to be fighting for the same real estate going on at pit road, and contact between the two made. So I think right here is the contact. We'll see.
Oh, yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. I think Kelan Belsha kind of dove into those pit stalls a bit early, and looks like the 86 car was there. So, yeah, Kelan obviously has the first pit stall on pit road, so he had a bit of ways to go, but of course he just got into it there.
Yeah, now Aaron Tribble, who got around with everybody else who exited pit road, he will dip down pit road, I believe, to get that the damage and, of course, get the fuel and the rubber that he was expecting to make before that incident. Now we're going to have to... Now he has a little bit of work to do in his first debut race. He does go down pit road, so he's going to hit the reset button on that time, try to figure out his way back around the field once we go back green. But Michael Kenner stayed out on pit road. He has now the oldest tires in the field. He did not pit with the rest of everybody else, so he will stay out, lead the field when we come back to the green flag. And very interesting call. And we were talking about his run at Vegas. He had an outstanding run against some of the best drivers. We saw Cole Williams, Blaze McKinney, Colby Wells being among those drivers who were at Vegas contending for the race win. And Michael Kenner, really got the best out of them in terms of the end and how that really finished out. He was able to take the victory for the first time this season for him in the 14 team. So interesting call for him. I'm very surprised he made this call very, very early. We're almost approaching halfway, but still early call for this 14. We're gonna see how that works, especially if it works out in this long run.
Yeah, it's it's not really call I expected, because these tires are precious, especially on the 1.5 mile racetrack. So if we do get a long green flag run, he might be at a disadvantage compared to some of these guys. But I think we are good on fuel to the end. So yeah, we're not gonna one stop it to the end, just like Atlanta that we saw. So yeah, these guys are
So field with Michael Kenner, Cole Williams, Aiden Kirker, and Dylan Basin will start in fourth after falling back, hitting the wall, being involved in an incident on the first yellow. He has rebounded, got his damage fixed. He is now up to the outside of row number 2. Then in row number 3, the man who was almost fighting for the race lead with Michael Kenner, that was a fellow Nova Sim Racing driver of Paul Granada. Then Brianna Lavin to his outside, Brady Wheeleman, Eli O'Quinn round out the rows behind. Then Jaden Lawson. You see Kelan Belsha with a little damage to the front end, and a couple other drivers back there as well. Aaron Tribble falling back with the rest of the field after that incident. He's going to catch back up once we go back green. So field is doubled up. The pace car will slowly pace around 3 and 4 one more time. We're just approaching 3 laps shy of the halfway mark to the end of this race here at Texas Motor Speedway. Pace car will loom down pit road. Field in the hands of Michael Kenner. He'll step on the gas pedal to his discretion. We are back green, and a really contentious start for the 42 of Cole Williams. Really making a move down there in the front pit.
And these restarts are all about pushing the guy who you're behind out front, because you know, into turn one, that high slide is going to be at a bit of a disadvantage. But they do get the momentum off of the corner as we see Cole Williams. But 3 wide for the race lead. Here comes Aiden Kirker on the bottom.
Aiden Kirker with help from Paul Granata. He's going to try to make that work. And contact between the two. Aiden Kirker loose in front of the field. Can he save it? And he does. Good save by Aiden Kirker. Gets that done. Luckily, no one else involved. No one gets a piece of that apart from Paul Granata, who gave him the little shove into 3 and 4. But he is okay. He'll try to fight back to the front of this field. But meanwhile, that allowed Dylan Basin to go to the front of the field on those fresh tires. Cole Williams now trying to make the move to Michael Kenner. I was assuming he would make that move earlier, but so far not able to make it happen. Try to work the outside, see if that works to the 42, and it looks like it does. But give the lead to Dylan Basin first time as we approach halfway.
And just adding onto that lap counter throughout the season here, he's been out front a few times in the past race, but just couldn't close the deal yet. These guys are a train on the bottom. We got about 6 cars up here. We got Jaden Lawson back there, and we also have, I believe, Brianna Lavin moving into the 5th spot here under the Nova Sim Racing car of Michael Kenner. Michael moves outside of the top 5 there. So some guys on the back toward the front. Contact there. 39 car up into the wall, and around they go, involving the 01 of Hunter Ellis. Caution is out once again.
Hunter Ellis hard into the outside wall, as well as Aiden Kirker, who got tagged along there. And boy, hard hit for them. And Michael Kenner, who stayed out on those older tires. He has damage he has to fix. We'll take a replay and you see exactly what went down there. You see Michael Kenner falling back to the outside, and here comes the 01. They both get into the outside wall, and they tag the 39 along with them. The 01 goes hard into the outside wall. It looks like Michael Kenner slides down the grass there, and hard contact for each of them. Boy, wow.
Yeah, that's a tough spot to be in. Butcher probably got the most damage out of that one. He's got a banged up front end now, lost the front clip, so he's probably gonna have to get that all repaired.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm pretty sure this league gives the fast repair, so I believe burning up that fast repair could be the savior to those guys, especially later in this running. But we'll just have to see what the 01, the 39, and the 14 do down pit road. But anyway, pit service is down for the rest of the field. Dylan Basin led them in with Paul Granata, Aaron Tribble, Brianna Lavin, Brady Wheeleman. Looks like Dylan Basin will take the lead off of pit road. Paul Granata, Brianna Lavin, the top 3. Brady Wheeleman, Eli O'Quinn, Kelan Belsha off of pit road. Now Aaron Tribble, Aiden Kirker, who I'm pretty sure who just burned up his fast repair, so he's going to be with the fresh race car. And yeah, pretty much the whole field shakes out, and Cole Williams is the man that stays out this time around, so he's going to be the catbird seat on the older tires, along with Jaden Lawson and a couple other drivers. I believe that is Josh Duke. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, Josh Duke, who stayed out on the racetrack in the Air Force Ford Mustang. He has damage to the back bumper. Pretty sure he's going to go down pit road, and he does, to get that service done. So he'll give up that spot easily, and the rest of the field will shake up one position more, leading Dylan Basin into this top 3. And now the 2 drivers who stayed out, who will fill the first row, Cole Williams and Jaden Lawson. Another interesting call by Cole Williams here. Not sure whether this is just a long run move to stay out, maybe anticipating a longer green flag run or what have you, but another interesting call to stay out. First of Michael Kenner did not work well for him, and we'll see if Cole Williams can possibly get a better result out of those older tires with the field behind him pretty much.
Yeah, and those tires are not as old as when the 14 stayed out. These guys are going to restart with about, the caution came out with about 6 laps on these guys' tires, and we restarted with the 14 car when he stayed out. He had 13 laps on his tires, so not as old, but it's certainly going to be at a disadvantage, but those top 2 cars, if we get a long run. So, yeah, it's tires matter a lot here. We've mentioned that throughout a lot of our broadcasts with the Cup cars, so yeah, it's pretty easy to see on that long run how much tire falloff really matters.
Yeah, it's repetitive, but I mean, you can't really avoid the situation when you come to these tracks and these cars where tires matter so much, and they really make the difference between going a couple miles per hour faster and being a little bit slower on the racetrack. And we've seen that in effect in real life. We've seen that in effect in iRacing. We saw how much it affected the drivers at Homestead, how it affected the drivers at Atlanta, where we saw Dylan Basin catching up to Keloa Hankins during those final runs on those fresher tires. And of course, burning them up a little earlier than expected could result in some negative side effects. But you know, tires is you can't really get out of the conversation of tires when it comes to these cars, because iRacing has put out that tire model and is really shaking things up on the surface, where you really have to focus on conserving them more, and even more recently so with the tire set limits that aren't in implement in this series, but I've seen it be implemented in a handful of other series already early, and that also adds to the strategy calls when it comes to getting those sets of tires and making sure you're there at the end of the race with fresher rubber than the rest of the field, so you can conserve your car in a better way, be there at the end. Right now, we are just past halfway, 26 laps remaining in this event. Cole Williams, Jaden Lawson will fill the front row on the older tires. Then you'll find the drivers all the way on the newer tires from row 2 all the way on back. Dylan Basin, Paul Granado, those first two. Brianna Lavin, Brady Willeman into row 3. Pace car goes off. One more time, another restart with Cole Williams leading this field. Green flag, we're back green at Texas.
Looking 3 wide there, Paul Granada in the middle between the 76 and the 71. The 76 let people by when he was up front on a couple cautions ago, I believe, so another courteous move for him. But to the inside for the race leader comes Dylan Basin in that Ford Mustang Nova Sim Racing number 8 car under the 42 car for the race league. We'll see who this lap goes to. Here comes Brianna Lavin up in the 3rd position looking for more.
First time we see her into this top 5 this afternoon. Now going to work to the bottom of Cole Williams, who's kind of holding his ground right now on those older tires. It's surprising that he's keeping that. It seems as though the last couple of cautions we've seen a driver that stayed out in contact between the two as they go down the back straightaway. That's going to give 3rd place to Paul Granada, so easy position for him there. Right place, right time. But here's a battle for the race lead. Brianna Lavin trying to lead her first laps in this series, and side by side to the line. I believe Dylan Basin might have had her there, but we'll see how this goes. Still side by side into turn 1.
71 car does clear him off for turn number 2, but will we see the crossover from the 8? And we do, to the inside for the race lead. Back looking under goes the 8 car. Here comes the 51 car peeking into the top 5. That 75 car also there as well. But we're starting to see those old tires really take effect on the 42 car, as he's could fall out of the top 5 pretty soon.
Yeah, now he has Aaron Tribble right behind him, and of course Brady Willeman to his bottom side, so he's going to try and stay and pinch him down possibly as much as possible to stay where he is at and try to clear himself between him and the rest of the guys behind him. It's not successful right now, though. Aaron Tribble is going to try to get there, and Brady Willeman tries to make a move under Paul Granada. Not enough, though, but look at the field work themselves in a 3 and 4. They kind of slid up just a little bit, but that's allowing Dylan Basin to continue his race lead, and now he's pretty much got the rest of the field right now.
Yeah, just about 2/10 of a lead over the 71 and the 95 cars. Side by side for 2nd place right now. Here comes the 51 car under the 42 car for the 4th position. He's moving up the pack with a bit of right front damage, but that's certainly not stopping him. Also the 14 making his way back up through the field. So we're starting to see these guys spread out just a little bit, but they are certainly not done yet. They're going to race just the way they were racing before. But catching up to the race leader, here comes Paul Granada, his teammate.
Draft is working for the Nova Sim Racing guys right now. Paul Granada trying to take that opportunity as quickly as he can, and almost contact between the two. Almost hit the back bumper there, but wasn't able to do it. Brianna Lavin will try to scoop to the outside and now make that move. Brady Willeman and a bunch of guys are on his tail, waiting to pounce on whatever he made that mistake. And now they're trying to take the position away, but they can't do it. The door is shutting very quickly on those drivers, and now that's pretty much bunched up these guys in this main pack. And Kelan Belsha, the pole sitter, is also trying to get into this pack as well. He's been looking pretty much on the outside, looking in for these guys. Now under pressure from the 26 of Eli O'Quinn. Aiden Kirker also to the bottom. But look how much these guys have pretty much scrunched up together as Brianna Lavin tries to work on the race leader.
Under 2/10 of a second between those top 2 guys. Just 20 laps to go here at Texas Motor Speedway. This race has gone by fairly quickly with a few cautions in between So yeah, I think it's going to be between the 8 car and the 71 car if they come down to it. But also saving tires is an important thing to take care of, as Paul Granada could definitely take advantage of that. If he just saves his tires, he could definitely catch up and maybe take the race lead if those 2 guys up front race each other and burn him out. So lots of strategy going to come down to it, as we have just 19 laps coming to 18 laps go. But lap 42 goes to Dylan Basin.
And on that note, every driver right here is good on fuel, so no worries about running out of fuel in these closing laps. So all they have to worry about now is maintaining the draft with the guys ahead of them and conserving their tires. You see Brady Williman into the outside wall. Looks like he's going to get out of harm's way between everyone on the inside. No one else gets damaged from that, but the 51 going to fall out of the top 5. Almost had that run secured before getting into the wall there, battling with those guys behind. But that's pretty much spread out this top 3 or so. Dylan Basin out front, Brianna Lavin into second. Now it looks to be Paul Granada into third, who tried to make a move on Dylan Basin. Wasn't successful there. He's going to hit the reset button, try once again if he can catch up. Aiden Kirker now into fourth, and rookie Aaron Tribble now works into this top 5.
He's starting to stretch out as Dylan Basin just 3/10 over the 71 car. Paul Granada just about a second back to third place, and Aiden Kirker in fourth place. Aaron Tribble with the top 5 runs so far, that number 86 Chevy Camaro, currently sitting in 5th, and the rest of them are kind of scattered. Eli O'Quinn for position all the way down to the apron, blocking. Here comes the 51 of the inside. That's not the 51, that's the 39 actually.
Yeah, the 39 to work all the way, I believe, almost below the apron there to get around the 95. I believe trying to make as much space as possible. But he's able to make that move, so give that position to the 39. Aiden Kirker into this top 3. And we'll see if he's going to try and run these top 2 down. But they've pretty much spread themselves out and really commanded the rest of this field on this final restart into this final stint. Aaron Tribble's going to try to work, and we see a car blown up all the way on the bottom. That's Hunter Ellis, who was 11 laps down. Now 13 laps down in 13th. So he's got an engine issue, so he's going to work on the apron. No caution on that front, so he'll go down pit road trying to get that repaired. Tough break for him early in this, pretty much later into this race. But now 13 laps remain here as we see Aiden Kirker now slowly catching up. Aiden Kirker was a really big talking point at Martinsville last week, where he was one of the cleaner cars on the racetrack, and on those restarts and most of those cautions, he was pretty much secured in that top 5. You know, he was really having a consistent run, and I believe with that momentum, he's trying to pick that up here at Texas. So far, so good. Now into second, 39, going to try to race down Dylan Basin.
Yeah, and it's a tall task to make up a second in just 11, almost 11 laps to go here. So we'll just have to see if it's working. He gained about a 10th that lap. He could make a charge to the front, but you know, that draft behind the leader there is really tough, especially really late into a run here. So we're going to see if he can make it work here as we are approaching just 12 laps to go at Texas Motor Speedway. Dylan Basin leads him.
Dylan Basin, one of the handful of Nova Sim Racing drivers in this league. Made his first start a couple of starts ago. Almost had the win secured at Atlanta, but wasn't able to conserve his tires enough to catch the race leader, Kiloa Hankins, on the race strategy, who stayed out all the way to the end. And now the lead dissipates with a yellow on lap 49. I believe we'll try to figure out who was involved in that. Might have been Paul Granada, who was working into this top 5 now with damage to the race car. Hunter Ellis went down pit road as well. Jaden Lawson was in that backpack, but I'm not sure whether he was involved. We'll take a replay, but Dylan Basin's lead has just gone from 1 second to none. Now, as you see, Paul Granada goes around to the back straightaway by himself. Might have been a wall hit there, and actually might have been contact between him and Eli O'Quinn off turn 2.
Yeah, these cars just get so tight on those old tires, and it just hits the wall for turn 1 2. I think Kelan Belsha kind of did the same, and contact once again for that number 95 car. But this is going to change everything. These guys could come down pit road and get those 4 fresh tires and have those fresh tires for just 10 laps into the finish.
Yeah, now that puts everybody on the same playing field, and pretty much everyone goes down pit road. Aiden Kirker, who went to second, now will be on those fresh tires, and pretty much everyone behind will be on the fresh tires. Cole Williams elects to stay in, so he'll go down pit road. I don't believe we have anybody staying out. We'll just check. I don't believe anyone stayed out, so I think we'll have pretty much everyone on the same set of tires and fuel. They'll be good on fuel, of course, till the end, but tires will play an effect, and they'll all have fresh rubber, so they'll be on the same grounds on this next restart. But heartbreaking for Dylan Basin. He will lead them on the next restart. He exits pit road first, but tough break for Dylan Basin, who was pretty much a second over Aiden Kirker. Looked to have that win in the bag. Now comes to a halt. He's going to try and get that back up and running, see if he can continue to stay in the lead with the 86 of Aaron Tribble now into second. Aiden Kirker falls back to third. Brianna Lavin, who was in third right before the caution happened, she has now fallen back a handful of positions to a couple of the drivers in the field. So another restart will happen late in this race. Boy, another late restart here, and another game-changing moment in this race.
Yeah, this is gonna change everything. These fresh tires at this track, especially within these 10 laps to the finish, it's gonna be insane. It's almost gonna feel like a plate track with all the moves these guys are about to make. So, I believe everyone took 4 tires here. I believe we had a question in the YouTube chat if anyone would take 2 tires. I wouldn't take 2 tires personally. I think those 4 tires are godlike on just a short run. I believe we're gonna get about a 6-lap run here. So. Aaron Tribble had a blazing fast pit stop. He moves up to the 2nd spot. That's a really good jump for him, and got a bit of rear end damage on that car, but that certainly won't make a difference if it's all behind him. So it's going to be a really interesting run to the finish.
And when you have new shoes, you got to feel good about having them, especially going into this final stint of the race. You mentioned 4 tires compared to 2. It's a big difference. When you have those 2 tires, those 2 older tires can wear out even more. It just depends on what side you take them and what sides you don't. But 4 tires seems to be the benefactor on this restart. And, you know, when you have the 4 fresh tires, you're pretty much on the same ground. You know, there's no different levels. You don't see anyone higher than you, anyone lower than you. Everyone is on equal playing field. And we'll have those drivers with the draft play into effect. We saw 3 wide moves. We saw crazy moves by Aiden Kirker even late in the going with the draft. So that's also going to be a key factor into how these drivers gain or lose positions on this final restart, and if that will affect the race leader at the end of this race. So just about 8 laps left in this event. 60 laps will be the end of this race pretty much. No green, white checkered this time around. I think we'll go one more time around on a 2 to green. Take the 1 to green, field will double up. Take the green flag for what could be the final restart in this event at Texas Motor Speedway. So yeah, pretty much interesting between all these drivers. And you mentioned Aaron Tribble, his first start in this series, blazing fast pit stop, starting the.
Whoa.
Could be a really good showing for him today. You know, 2nd place if he can take it, if he can clear himself from the rest of the field. I think that would be a really strong, momentous effort for the 86 here today.
Yeah, and it's good to get a solid finish right out of the gate here. So it would be really cool for him to score a podium finish here at Texas Motor Speedway. So I believe we're going to get the 1 to green signal this time, and then we'll go green flag racing. But I believe 6 laps to go here at Texas. So a short run here, but it's going to be one of the most intense we've seen all season. As we've seen on the restarts, those guys are all doubled up. It's almost like a super speedway like I mentioned earlier. So it's going to be a really insane one. This could be a finish for the record books.
Just to mention quickly before we go green at Texas for what could be the final restart, we are sponsored here at K1 Racing Network by the folks at Eel Media, the graphic design. If you want to get any of your graphic design done, you can just message eel.media on Instagram. We have an Eel Media car rocking those colors right in the inside of row 3. That was the pole sitter, Kelan Belsha, so good move for him. And we have an interesting call by Dylan Basin. Outside line on this restart. Won't pick the inside with Aaron Tribble. So Aaron Tribble now to the bottom. Dylan Basin will be confident in this outside line. Interesting call here. I'm excited to see how that works out.
Yeah, that's an interesting one for sure. I think, you know, if you get a good enough jump on the car below you, I think it's you'll just get down to the bottom anyways. But if you're side by side, you're gonna get that momentum off of you. So I think this high line is a good decision for that 8 car coming to this restart. So we'll see if it works out or not. But Like I said, this is going to be an intense one.
Final 6 laps at Texas Motor Speedway. Dylan Basin, Aaron Tribble round out your first row. Cole Williams into the second row. His fellow teammate Aiden Kirker on the bottom. Into the trioval, what could be the final time. Green flag is out here at Texas Motor Speedway. Interesting start by both front row drivers. They're going to be equal. Then we're going to turn one with Aiden Kirker easily taking third and 3 wide behind them.
And the 86 get clear for the race lead, and he does for the moment. But will the 8 get the run on the outside? He will. So that plan by Dylan Basin does not work out so far. The 86 car has the advantage on the bottom. Aiden Kirker sitting in a comfortable third place right now, but it's going to come down to who Aiden Kirker helps, but it looks like he's going to stick to the bottom line. He's going to help that 86 car out and clip home for the race lead. But he jumps up to the high side, 2 by 2. Here comes the 42 car down the bottom.
Oh my goodness, Aaron Tribble is in a going low sandwich with Cole Williams and Aiden Kirker. Luckily, no contact between any of them, but Aaron Tribble had to fight for that spot. Now 3 wide with Paul Granata and Cole Williams in the middle. They're going to try to work into turn 3 and try to get around each other. Looks to be fairly calm through there. Paul Granata takes over third. But now Aiden Kirker, who was slowly catching the race leader on the long run, has another opportunity to take his first win in this season. 4 laps to go into turn 1.
And it would be heartbreaking for Dylan Basin. He's come so close a couple times in the last few races, but has not pulled it off. But to the inside for the race lead with 4 laps to go down the back straightaway. Dylan Basin trying to side draft him, but to the inside. Could he take the lead coming to 3 laps to go? Well, will Dylan Basin use that outside momentum? We'll see after the corner. Looks like lap number 3 laps to go. We'll go to that 39 car.
Side by side still with Dylan Basin trying to hold his ground on the top side. Hunter Ellis with an engine blown all the way in the apron, but no caution just yet. Aiden Kirker now to the race lead on the bottom. We'll see if there's a crossover with Dylan Basin, and there is, blocking all the way down the apron, on board with Dylan Basin.
That could have been a lot worse, that 39 car, but that 8 car makes it work to the bottom side. Here comes the 42 car as well. Looks like 2 laps to go. The lap will go to Dylan Basin back out front. Here comes the 42 and the 95, 3 wide. That 95 car is making aggressive moves. All race line makes contact with the 42. Looks like they're going to go up into the wall. Will the caution come out? No, looks like they'll save it, but still Dylan Basin up front for the race lead.
And now they'll pass on the rest of them. And Aaron Tribble, your rookie, is now into third, trying to look into the inside of 39. And we got a caution on the racetrack. Looks to be Paul Granado, who was in the wall earlier with Cole Williams. Now goes around for good. Caution is out with 3 laps to go. That'll settle us into the first green-white checkered of this race. Oh my goodness, Dylan Basin had the race lead, and that was a huge pileup with a bunch of drivers. We're going to take a replay, see what happened with those drivers. We're going to first take a look at what happened with Cole Williams and Paul Granado. That was intense. Yeah,
Paul made that move a couple laps ago, I think, and he was going to make it work, but I think he just hit that apron. Yeah, he did. He just got tight and put the 42 on him both in the wall. I think they saved it down the back straightaway. But I think heading into turn 3 here, it just couldn't last because those guys were coming up so fast, and yeah, just got made contact with the 52. 4 guys with damage there, and we'll see if they still have their fastest pair.
Yeah, they were going 3 wide. I was mentioning how they were pouncing on those guys to take position, and they were, but just a little bit too early. Had no real estate to make room there, so contact between pretty much everyone there. And I don't think anyone in the lead goes down pit road. So interesting call for none of them to go get those fresh tires on this final restart. So that means Brady Wheeleman, Jaden Lawson, Cole Williams, Josh Duke. Those 3 of the 4 drivers there were involved in that incident. They're going to take damage repair and, of course, get 4 fresh tires on their race car. And, of course, Paul Granado.
51 car gets his fast repair, and so does the 42. And those guys are going to be on fresh tires. We'll see if they can just carve through the field with just 2 laps to go here. I think they're going to come out. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'm sorry to cut you off there, but yeah, that burning up their fast repair late in this running, I guess they didn't feel like they had to use it until now, but fresh tires, fresh car, no damage, and there's some damage with the guys up front, so that could be interesting. I was pretty much almost counting them out almost to the end of this race, but that could shake up things dramatically, especially with the top 5 on back, maybe even the race lead if something happens.
Yeah, it's going to be a shootout for the finish.
Yeah.
It's I believe they were coming to the white, I think, weren't they?
I think they were approaching 2 laps to go.
Well, yeah, it's almost got to the end there, but looks like it's going to push us into an overtime finish. So, I believe this is the 2 to green mark. We're going to get the 1 green mark next time by, and Dylan Basin will lead them back. We'll see if he chooses the outside line. Once again, I don't think it worked out the way he wanted to on that last restart, but he is the leader right now, and we'll see if he can fend off that 39, 86, and the 14 cars.
Yeah, Dylan Basin worked that outside, and he did it surprisingly well. He had the fight with Aiden Kirker, but he was able to hold them off on the outside on those fresher tires, kind of pinching him down to the bottom and the white line there. So, interesting call. It probably, you mentioned, it probably didn't work out like he wanted it to, so I think he's going to go for safety's sakes and go all the way to the bottom and try to stay on that inside lane, which seems to be the better line around this track, of course, in turn 1 and 2 and in 3 and 4. So we'll see if Dylan Basin makes that call once again. But yeah, now we're into the green-white checker. Little explanation of how that goes through. We're going to start with 2 laps to go. We're going to go green from there, and they'll go 1 more time around before they reach the white flag. If a caution comes out before they reach the white flag, we'll take 1 more opportunity to reset and go for another green-white checkered attempt. 3 green-white checkered attempts here today at Texas. If we go past all 3 and the caution comes out before the white flag, that pretty much ends the race. And of course, if the leader gets to the white flag on any of those attempts and a caution comes out, or pretty much anything happens, and next flag ends the race, so the field will freeze, and pretty much the win will go to the race leader once the white flag is displayed. So right now, Dylan Basin has a lot of work to do to fend off the guys behind him. Aiden Kirker really had a word for him in that last stint, and he was really battling with him, bringing some of the better battling we've seen up front, like we have seen all day long. Aaron Tribble sneaked into the top 3 after contact with Cole Williams and Paul Granada. After that happened, he was able to sneak by on the bottom, get to 3rd. So another possible podium finish for Aaron Tribble today if he can get it done. So 2 to green mark right now. We'll take the 1 to green. Once again, you see Hunter Ellis with the blown engine pretty much trying to limp around the racetrack as best as he can to get a finish out of this one, get some points instead of being on a DNF. He's the only driver pretty much a lap down. He's 14 laps down. Everyone else is on the lead lap from 1st all the way back to 12th. You're looking at the cockpit cam from your race leader, Dylan Basin. First time we've seen the inside cam all day long. And, you know, he's been one of the more compelling drivers through this race. Of course, he has to get that. He wants to get that redemption from Atlanta when he was just short of the race win, when he felt like he had the best strategy to take the win, and he wasn't able to do so with Keloa Hankins staying out front, burned up his equipment a little earlier than he desired, and then that really cost him the race win. But now he is in a prime opportunity to take his first win this season, have another new winner in the LWRC NASCAR Cup Series. We've had our fair share of them. Jack Boche, winner at Daytona. We've had Cole Williams, a race winner. We've had Colby Wells, a recent race winner. We've seen Keloa Hankins, race winner as well. We've seen so many different drivers. Michael Kenner as well, race winner into row number 2. So a bunch of drivers with 1 win, a bunch of drivers with first wins. We'll see if that capitalizes here once again at Texas. The first 2 drivers in the first row, they haven't won a race this season yet. So this is a good opportunity to get another first-time winner, which we could see coming to the end of this race, and a rookie on row number 2 on the bottom. First 2 rows and pretty much every row behind them are set. We are ready to take the first green-white checkered attempt here at Texas. Dylan Basin, Aiden Kirker, your first 2 that'll lead them to the green flag. Green flag is out once again at Texas. Another equal start for the guys on the first and second row. They'll almost go 3 wide in a row 3. Good push by Aaron Tribble. We'll see as they go side by side in turn 1.
And the question is, will they make it to the white? I know these guys are definitely capable of doing so, but these guys, they are 3 out behind them. Will they bring out another caution? I know Dylan Basin is crossing his fingers, hoping they won't, but still double file for the race lead. The 86 car is up to the rear bumper. That 8 car almost gives him a tap there, and that's going to allow the 37 to get the run on the outside off of turn number 4. Come to the white flag. Dylan Basin leads. No, that's the 39 car. Will they make it back? And will Dylan Basin keep the lead this time into turn number 1, trying to fend off those double file guys behind him? Aaron Chibble's sitting right behind, and even with him, that 39 car, Aiden Kirker, Still trying to make a move down the back straightaway. 3 miles moves for the race lead. Will they make it back?
Here comes Dylan Basin to the bottom. Aiden Kirker trying to make a move. We got a car around. Michael Kenner is around, but here comes the race to the front straightaway, side by side, but not enough for Aiden Kirker. Dylan Basin is a first-time winner in the LWRC NASCAR Cup Series. Finally a winner at Texas Motor Speedway. Gets it barely over the 39. What an effort at the end there by all those drivers. Cole Williams, after being involved in a recent incident to bring out the yellow on the green-white checkered, takes the fresh repair and pretty much gets everything set up, and now he falls into the top 3. What a finish for Cole Williams, and of course, what a run by Dylan Basin. First checkered flag this season. And the rookie Aaron Tribble, how about that? A 4th place finish. He finishes in the top 5. His first race. Great race for him, but must be feeling good behind the wheel of that 8 machine. Gonna burn it down in the Lone Star State. He takes his first win this season as the rest of the field piles in to celebrate.
And I'm sure Dylan's relieved to get that one. And it's nice to get a fairly clean race. You know, last week at Martinsville was kind of rough. We had all those cautions, so it's nice to get some clean racing and get a few long runs in today. So I'm pretty satisfied with this race. I thought that was a really good one. Celebrating with his Nova Sim Sport teammates.
Yeah, Nova Sim Racing had a very good presence in this race. And even with the best drivers up front, the drivers in the middle of the pack, and of course Hunter Ellis, who was limping around the racetrack, but he must be happy that his teammate took the win today here at Texas. We'll take a look at your results. Of course, you're looking at the number 8, a race winner, finishes first. Dylan Basin, a winner at Texas Motor Speedway. First win of the season for him. Aiden Kirker falls just short of his first win. He finishes second, but another momentous run for the 39 team. Must feel good for them going into next week. Cole Williams finishes in the top 3 after being involved with Paul Granada to bring out the caution with 3 laps remaining. He finishes in 3rd with the fast repair. Aaron Tribble, your race rookie, making his debut. He finishes 4th. Great finish for him. Brianna Lavin finishes inside the top 5. Another top 5 for her. So great run for her. She had a really good run with the race leader. Finishes 5th. Josh Duke finishes 6th. Eli O'Quinn, another Nova Sim Racing driver, finishes 7th. Brady Williman 8th. Kelan Belsha, pole sitter, finishes 9th. Michael Kenner, another Nova Sim Racing driver, finishes just inside the top 10.
Right outside your top 10, Paul Granada finishes 11th, and Jaden Lawson finishes 12th. Hunter Ellis, the first car, a couple laps down. And Kenneth Bueno, I don't know why you were in there, but yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and look at that. I'm gonna go ahead and look back at that finish because they were side by side coming to the wire there.
Yeah, they were pretty much 3 wide for a bunch of positions behind the race leaders, and you saw the move by Cole Williams to the bottom of Aaron Tribble, and they made almost contact there with Aiden Kirker. That could have sent him around. Michael Kenner also went around up to the wall. Contact, I believe, with the 71, but what a close finish. That's unbelievable.
That 39 car just found a gap between that 8 and 42, and he just was able to squeeze right below him, and he was able to almost make it a photo finish, really.
That might have been the best race we've seen all season, really.
If you just got a little bit closer, they could have been a photo finish between those guys. But still, a really good race between those guys.
Yeah, amazing race. Aiden Kirker just short, but amazing finish nonetheless here at Texas Motor Speedway. When we come back, we've got the interviews with the top 3, and of course your race winner, Dylan Basin, taking his first win in this LWRC NASCAR Cup Series season. We'll take a short break, play some ads. We'll be right back with more post-race coverage on the KBRN Racing Network. You're watching the LWRC NASCAR Cup Series. Dylan Basin, a race winner. Welcome back to the Lone Star State in Texas Motor Speedway, where the driver on your screen, Dylan Basin, wins his first race in the LWRC NASCAR Cup Series. He takes a victory finally after a heartbreaking end at Atlanta, a 1.5-mile win for the driver, the number 8. We're going to bring him in the booth. Dylan Basin, welcome to the KBRN studios. You got a copy?
Yep.
All right, Dylan. Well, I feel like after Atlanta and your loss to Kilo Hankins in the race strategy, that I felt like that was a really heartbreaking end for you. But I want to ask you, how does it feel to finally get your first win here at Texas?
Feels great. It's my second ever league win and first win in this new Nova paint. And I'd like to thank all the Nova guys that were there in the race, helping me out, cheering me on. Especially Paul for taking off the field. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you had a fair share of your teammates out there. Paul Granada, of course, Hunter Ellis, Eli O'Quinn among the drivers who were there with you celebrating on the front straightaway. But I want to ask you about the battle within the final laps. I can't go anywhere else without talking about that. Your battle with Aiden Kirker and Cole Williams and Aaron Tribble, the race rookie, at the end of that race, approaching that last green-white checkered run and those final 3 laps. So what was really going on behind the wheel? Was there really any sort of feelings? Was there really any sort of anticipation that the guy would make any sort of moves? What were you really thinking going into those final corners?
One thing I was thinking about was trying to win. I was just doing everything I could to keep him behind me, and I was hoping that caution wouldn't have come out and not cause a game of checker, but it did. But I was still able to hang on. But Aiden threw up a really good fight, and it was fun. I definitely look forward to racing with him later on.
It was a lot of fun up here in the booth watching you battle with the 39. That was an intense battle between you and him. But I want to ask you, before you go ahead and celebrate your second league win and a win in the LWRC NASCAR Cup Series, you got any teams or sponsors you want to thank for making today's effort happen?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Nova Sim Racing again. They're a great team, great guys. Making the great schemes that we have, giving them the confidence, and Endurance Distributions, our engine supplier that really doesn't exist.
All right, Dylan. Well, we'll let you celebrate in victory lane and throw those guns up in the air at Texas Motor Speedway. We hope to see you coming into these next races, and just very exciting to watch you take your first win. Unbelievable stuff there, and we hope to see you coming in the next few races. We thank you for tuning in with us.
Thank you.
Dylan Basin going to shoot the guns in the cowboy hat up in victory lane at Texas Motor Speedway. We're going to look back to second place and the driver who was so close to the race victory. Almost tried to get his first win, but wasn't able to do so in the end of the day. We're going to get the interview with Charlie. He is trackside with the 39 of Aiden Kirker.
And into the booth he goes. Aiden, you got a copy with us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, Aiden, you put up a really good fight and was really consistent all race. And coming to that green-white checkered, with a photo finish with Dylan Basin, I have to ask, I know you put up everything you could to try to get around the 8 car, but is there anything you could have done differently to just get the nose out front at the line?
No, I was just driving my tail off those final 2 laps, and I mean, if Kenneth could have gotten to me on the backstretch and gave me a little shove, maybe it would have been different, but I mean, I don't know. There wasn't really anything different that could have gone there. It was just a good battle with Basin. I want to be upset that I just lost again, but I mean, I can't be. That was just so much fun.
Yeah, and you were really consistent last night at Martinsville. I believe you were one of the only few cars with a completely clean race car at the end there, and another consistent one here tonight. Is consistency really what you're looking for come to these races, and as we start to dip later into the season?
Yeah, just bringing out the most points I can and getting the best finishes, keeping the car clean. I mean, yeah, I want to win, but if I can just go out and get consistent top 3s, a clean car and points, then it is what it is. I'll settle for that.
All right, well, Aiden, last few races have been very consistent, turning into a podium finish in both of those. So thank you for coming down here racing with us at Texas Motor Speedway here, and we'll see you, I believe, next week. But before I let you go, do you have any teams or sponsors that you want to thank?
Yeah, I just want to thank my team Going Low Racing with Cole Williams, Lane Stevens, and Dominic Mulhern. And I don't have any sponsors, always open to them, but yeah, that's everybody I got to thank.
All right, well, Aiden, another consistent run turns into a podium finish. We'll see you next week, and we wish you the best of luck there, man.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Aiden Kirker just finishes just short by half a car length under Dylan Basin for the win. And we're going to go inside ourselves back to Cole Williams, finishes third right behind those two cars. He finished, I guess, right in front of him in the simplest terms. So Kenneth is trackside with him and get the interview.
Oh, hey, Cole Williams, Kenneth Bueno up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Hey, Cole Williams, this is Kenneth Bueno in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Might be muted on his end, so not
He's
sure.
here.
Oh yeah, he's in the booth, but
Can
I'm
you
not
hear
sure. He's in the booth, but he's muted, so
I hear him.
not sure. Oh, you hear him?
I'll
Hold
go
on.
ahead and do it. Well, Cole.
No, I got it. I can hear him now.
Okay.
All right, Cole, and sorry about that. You got a copy with us, obviously.
Yeah, I
I'm
got
pretty
it.
sure you do.
Yeah.
All right, Cole. Well, you had a really good run there. You were making a lot of crazy moves in the Kelly Oubre mobile today, and you were involved in an incident with Paul Granada through the end of that race, and you got that fast repair. You came all the way back to third. Tell us how you did that.
It's just all around the bottom, trying to pass on the bottom. I don't really know what Paul was doing. I've tried to watch the replay multiple times. They're trying to pin it on me, but he just being a clown all race. And he got junked by Eli, so that was pretty deserved. I believe he was on strict probation, so I don't think we'll see him for the next 2 weeks or a week or so. But yeah, I was just trying to hold it on the bottom. Those new tires helped a lot. I was really surprised I got all the way up to third, but if I had one more lap, those tires definitely would have paid off. But it wasn't ideal. But if it would have went green, it would have probably helped my teammate out. And then he got really close, and it was a really good finish there. Just rolling the bottom and just making it 3 wide, using the grass. I felt like that wasn't actually hurting me to use the grass, but yeah.
Well, you were really working with your going low teammate at Aiden Kirker, and you guys are really working well together through those final laps there at the end. And I know you were giving the bumper to the 39, trying to give him that extra push and really help him out there. And I know you had some pressure behind from Brianna Lavin. I know Aaron Tribble was also there as well. There were a couple drivers that were, fighting around you. Tell us how that car felt through the final portion of the race, knowing that you had those fresh tires and that fast repair from the last incident.
The last run, I was like, why have I got so much of a run? I was like, oh yeah, these guys are on 10-lap tires. But the run before Paul got the last caution, green white checkered, it felt pretty good. Restarting fifth, it felt like those guys were in the catbird seats, the third and fifth place car, because they would just get a huge run from the draft on the leader, and I think that's how Dylan got by me a couple times. He was really good all race too. Of course, Aiden, but it was a lot of tire conservation. I was hoping we'd get a longer green run because I felt like, especially at the start, I think we were like the first run, me and Aiden were 1-2 and like 2 seconds in front of Tribble or something, and we were gone pretty much. But of course, cautions, and can't blame guys. It's just how it goes. We can't really expect to go all the way green, but it was a lot of tire conservation. And in the end, I was just like, I just got to roll as much speed as I can through these corners to get these huge runs. And I made it 3 wide on Kelan, and because I guess he must have had some damage or something. 3 wide past him, and then I had a huge run on, I believe it was Kenner down the back, got underneath him, and then just past Tribble. And then from there, I was like, hey, I'm going to give you a push. And he's like, okay. Then he tried to cross, and I think it was a few hundredths. But yeah, it was a great race. I had a lot of fun.
Well, you really put up a good fight at the end. You finished in the podium spot in third. Before we let you go, taking that Kelly Oubre mobile next week to Bristol, you got any sponsors or teams you want to thank for making today's effort happen?
No sponsors, but shout out to Kelly Oubre for sure, and shout out to Aiden for making me the paint. That I think that's the best car out there for sure.
Well, we hope to see those faces of Kelly Oubre down at Bristol next week. 150 laps, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Another short track. So we hope to see you next week there, putting up a good run, and we of course thank you for tuning in with us here on KBRN.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Cole Williams out of the booth finishes in third, and that rounds out the top 3 interviews for today's action for the LWRC NASCAR Cup Series from Texas Motor Speedway. Time to wrap things up with the post-race coverage, and I want to talk about something a little different. Usually we go over the takeaways through this race, but I really want to focus the attention on our 5-race stretch that we have in the rest of the schedule going forward. We have Bristol Motor Speedway, so we have a sandwich in Texas here in between Martinsville last week and now Bristol next week. A much shorter race, 150 laps, so not as long as what we'll see at Martinsville, but still more short track action. Then we go to the first road course of the season in Sonoma. That'll be 25 laps, race number 10. And then we have Talladega and then Dover twice within the span of 2 days. Tell us, I really want to ask you, Charlie, what really matters in this 5-race stretch as we start to approach the All-Star race coming to the middle of the season?
Yeah, I think once again we're starting to see a lot of different tracks, and it's
Charlie, you got a copy? You're there?
Oh, my mic is muted on Discord.
All right.
Sorry. Hello,
Yeah,
I'm
Charlie
here. Sorry.
Oh, there you go.
I was talking, but my mic was muted. Yeah, it's a really interesting 5-race stretch. We're gonna see. We're gonna dip our toes into a lot of different tracks. So, I think that's it's gonna be a lot of fun to cover. But some of those tracks are a bit sketchy. So, it's a lot to cover for us. So it's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, of course, and we want to catch the rest of the season in that 5-race stretch, and of course moving forward of the LWRC NASCAR Cup Series. That'll be right here on the KBRN Racing Network. Every Monday, times usually change. I know the short track at Bristol will be 8 p.m. Eastern next week on a Monday, or maybe a Tuesday. I believe we'll just check in with that, and then of course next week every times seem to be changing, but most of them around the early afternoon, 2, 3, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But regardless, you can still find the action right here on the KBRN Racing Network. Make a notification whenever we go live for this series. And tonight we're still not over with KBRN Racing Network action. We have the iRacing Bunge Lawn Care Series final regular season race from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. That'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern. Coverage will start there. We'll start our pre-race coverage from there. Head on to the green flag. Find out which 10 drivers make it into the playoffs for the rest of that season on that side. But for over here, Dylan Basin is a race winner for the first time this season. He gets it done at Texas. We thank you for tuning in with us on the K1 Racing Network. Had a lot of fun here in this race. Had a lot of great battles and great racing all together. And for everyone here at the LWRC NASCAR Cup Series, for your race winner, Dylan Basin. For everyone here at KBRN, good afternoon. We'll see you at Las Vegas for the Bunge Series later tonight.